Pakistan and China are celebrating 75 years of their diplomatic relations. So, what is one thing that unites the most, or if we say there is, if be it a food or language, what is one thing that unites the peoples of two countries and that can play a big role in uniting or making aware of the culture or the language of the two peoples of both countries?
I think there are many ways to describe it, but my own way is that the common factor between two countries and two people, China and Pakistan, is the high degree of mutual trust. So that's one element. And linked to that, how does mutual trust develop? It's by standing with each other in good and also in not so good times. And mutual trust doesn't just develop overnight. It takes time, it takes years. And this is what I think, on both sides, our people, our leaders, our diplomats, they have precisely done that. And that is why this relationship, this friendship between Pakistan and China, not just at the government level, but also at the people level. And this is the reason we call it a friendship which is higher than the highest mountains and deeper than the deepest ocean and sweeter than honey. So I think at the foundation of this relationship and unparalleled friendship between two states and two people, the core of it is mutual trust.
What are the potential opportunities for youth, Pakistani youth, especially in China?
China in 20th, 21st century is the new land of opportunity. If the US was a land of opportunity for 20th century, China is so for this century. So, and these are endless opportunities. So let's start with education, for example, because probably your audience is more of a demographic, very young people. So education meaning on the technology side, the frontier technologies, whether it is biotechnology, biomedicine, synthetic biology. This is just one area, but then you go to the quantum, the computing side, quantum computing, AI, IoT, and so on. So one piece of this is new or frontier technology. So pursue, there are very high quality universities here. So to pursue bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, PhD, postdoc. So China is no longer what China used to be a generation ago. It is now at the cutting edge of these technologies. So this is one area, education. But linked to that is also not everybody will just pursue education. Education leads to either you pursue some career. So I think research is another area where China is far ahead now. They published the largest number of research papers, and others they file the largest number of patents and copyright and so on. The third area is to also have the commercialization of research and to deploy your knowledge and education into business and startups and incubation centers. So this is an area which is very promising. And to enhance the canvas, I think when we look at the economy as such, trade and investment, there are huge opportunities. We have just, in the last 2 years, we have organized 5 uh, China-specific business-to-business investment conferences, and we are focusing on 21 priority sectors that we have identified. And we are focused, and this is a great opportunity with Chinese capital, with Chinese finance, and with Chinese management practices. This is what we are harnessing towards Pakistan, working with bringing Chinese companies, working with Pakistani companies in these sectors to enhance our productive capacity so that we can scale up our exports and improve their quality and diversity of these exports. And the third area, I think, is in terms of the opportunities, is where China has over 70,000 technical and vocational training institutions. So we are harnessing this potential and opportunity also because they integrate wherever they set up a factory and a plant, within that factory and plant, they establish a setup where they skill people, train people for technical training, for skill sets. So this is what we are also doing. We are integrating investment mobilization effort with technical and vocational training in each of these sectors. So just to give you one example, we have organized 5 conferences. Next one is in on pharmaceutical, biotechnology, and healthcare combined next month in Karachi. So it's not only the Chinese enterprises or companies that we are bringing to work with Pakistani company counterparts, but we are also bringing Chinese institutions which provide technical and vocational training. So to combine, so that once a factory is established after investment, that factory already has an inbuilt facility to train people, so that there are trained and skilled labor force available right there, rather than having an afterthought. Okay, we have set up so many plants, but we don't have people with the requisite skills and we can't employ. So just to avoid that problem. So these are some of the opportunities that exist. There are many others in science and technology, in agriculture, in exploiting the mining minerals and so on. But these are, some that I have highlighted.
Please enlighten us about how much learning Chinese language can help and in which manner.
It's a great asset. It's a door opener. It's certainly a big plus. You immediately connect with people. So we are all humans. We have some hesitation and some find difficulty. If you don't know the language of a country that you are in, and where very few people either choose to speak English or don't know even English. But I think the anxiety level has gone down these days with a lot of apps that are available. Real time translation is available. So it's not like 10 years ago your level of anxiety was higher if you didn't know Chinese language. Now it is relatively easier, but of course there is nothing like knowing the Chinese language and speaking and connecting with people. It's certainly a big ad-generated advantage.
Can learning Chinese language itself open more doors or avenues for the younger people which do not have any other specific skill set?
Well, I mean, if you know the language, and if you are, for example, in educational field and you want to pursue a degree or you want to do research, it is certainly an additional advantage when, if there are, let's say, 5 positions, and people with the Chinese language background may be given implicitly preference over others. So you have an advantage. And if you are in business, for example, and if you know the language, and if you're setting up a business or if you're setting up a startup, rather your expense will be less. Otherwise, you will have to hire people to work for you or interpret for you, translate for you. So in that sense, I think it is where not knowing the language can be in business an additional expense. And if you have the language experience, you have an edge over others.
And what about the labor force, like the people who do not have any degree or they just have these skills of maybe someone is in food industry or someone is in any other technical part. So what about those people and the opportunities for such people in China?
A country like China, to give you a very simple example, if you don't have the skill set, if you're not training, if you don't know a technical vocation, if you don't know, any skill, you are like a fish out of water, cannot survive. So this is a country where each and everyone is reasonably good, and in many cases very high skill level, and uh, high level of talent cultivation platforms. So it is absolutely necessary for people, uh, Chinese companies and government, they have offered and launched programs where they would like to attract highly talented and highly skilled and professional people to come and work. So that's the bar they have set. So a basic skill set, of course, will get you some level of job or employment, but that may not be very high paying job or not a very attractive job. But you may, but without a skill set, without a basic degree certification, it's almost impossible to get a slot and get um, a livelihood window open to you.
But speaking of the home country, what do you miss most about Pakistan?
I guess food is something that you eat every day, of course. Um, my wife cooks excellent food, but it is, when you are in your own country, sometimes you like to go out, try different things. Of course, there are restaurants in Beijing and in China and generally where there are Pakistani restaurants and other restaurants. But it's like, there's nothing like home in Pakistan being home to us always. So this is one thing. Food is, of course, an important thing. This is something we consume every day. But beyond that, I think it's like the larger family and friends that you miss. Of course, we connect with them through different means, but there is nothing like having one-on-one or interactions, real-time interaction.
And what are your other interests other than your job?
I would like to be an entrepreneur and do stuff on the business side of it. Not necessarily starting a business, but of course, advising, consulting. That's one part. My other passion is to also always develop or at least help develop institutions, or no matter how small they are, but create structures which then become platforms to train people, to amplify knowledge, skills, techniques. So that's these are the two things that I would like to continue doing in different capacities going forward.
So now you're in service and you have been very busy going here and there. But there will come a time when all of this will, just shut down and you'll get retired. So, what are your plans for that life, life after foreign service?
Couple of things. First, I would like to, continue as much as I can to travel, but also when I'm not traveling, I would like to do some consulting on the, what the skill set that I have on some of those areas, the consulting on difficult regional or, other security issues. I have a background in arms control. Half my career I spent on that. That's another skill set. But beyond that, if I have still time left, and I'm sure I'll have a plenty of time, so I'd like to do something on the business side, which is more in the advisory capacity. And that is something that I have acquired in China in the last 2.5 years. A lot of these new models that we have developed in terms of conceiving, developing, planning, and then organizing business to business investment conferences, the vocational and education, technical training symposiums, then try to integrate these two things. Also, we have established Pakistan study centers, for example, here. So far, we have done 4. They are more thematic on technology side, agriculture side, petrochemical side, um, also the IT and frontier technology side. Um, So these are the kind of things. So you can see in these some of these things is the urge to develop some structures or institutions and do develop solutions to complex problems, whether they are in politics or economy or wherever you feel. For example, as I mentioned, when we have millions of kids out of school, we've got a major problem. So we got to do something about it. So I cannot probably change the entire, I cannot maybe provide a solution for all 30 million, but I can create some pathways at least where maybe a few thousands are able to acquire the skills that are necessary for them to have a job.
So, what message in the end would you like to give to our viewers?
I think when we are abroad, we learn many things. And in a nutshell, I would say to the viewers that there are three things which are very important that I have learned for generally for any country in larger population. One is, I think, the ability to better understand uh, each other, understand your surroundings, your own country, your own society. And if you have more time, you should always try and to understand your region and the world at large. So understanding, enhancing your understanding, that's very important. I think the second thing that is important is tolerance. Tolerance of each other, even if you disagree very strongly with other persons or groups or even with the government, that's uh, that's not a problem. But you got to have a level of tolerance where you agree to disagree. So tolerance, I think, is the second thing. And third is, I think, respect. And respect is a two-way traffic. It's a mutual respect. But I think in where you can make a difference is even in some cases you might not, uh, you know, feel that the other side or the person is not, giving you the respect that you desire or deserve, but at the same time, your behavior and your conduct um, over time will foster and generate uh, requests. So if it is not coming from the other side, you do it your side, you will eventually get that reciprocity. So these are the three things which, from what we have learned moving, for example, I've had two postings in North America, two in Europe, and two in Asia. So this is something I think the crux of what I have gathered, and I think it would be good to have these three things in our country at a large scale.
Thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you so much.